Ronald Reagan Building and International Trade Center is very pleased to host an art exhibit of emerging South African artists this April. I understand that it was part of an art festival last year. Can you tell us about the collection, the artists, and how this has all come together, sir?
The Arts Festival is a festival within an overall festival to celebrate the life, legacy, and values of Nelson Mandela, to really export probably South Africa's most valuable product called Ubuntu. The idea and the philosophy of human interconnectedness and interdependence. In the words of Nelson Mandela, I am because you are. In the words of Archbishop Tutu, we are people through other people. And so the arts collection, the Isakani collection, is really one that tries to depict that philosophy. And so we've taken a cross-section of artists. The one who did the lithograph on Nelson Mandela's first speech, Chris Ledachowski, to David Shlongwane, to Frank Ross, and many others, all of them in themselves reflecting the great diversity of South Africa and therefore the diversity of art. And they all carry this message of Ubuntu. More than that, these are contemporary artists, almost in a sense, your post-apartheid generation, who are on a journey of discovery, who are themselves searching and contemplating about how do you capture the essence of who we were, the essence of our resilience, the place from which our reconciliation and our forgiveness came, the place that manufactures our dignity as a nation. They're trying to discover that in the very difficult, trying, and painful past, and trying to bring all of those resources and to give it to current generation through their contemporary artworks. And so it goes and it tries to discover it in the flower cellars of Cape Town, in the expressions that met Nelson Mandela when he made his first speech, in landscapes, in the townships, which on the surface look derelict and poverty-stricken, but is the birthplace of so much of the character of South Africa, and even in the suburbs of some of the wealthier places, to see how does one find the balance between the generosity of the rich and the patience of the poor. And in that, I think, is a lesson for the United States as it begins, for the first time in many, many decades, to also contemplate difficulty and ease coexisting in a single space. And that really is the art collection that we are very proud to bring to the Ronald Reagan Center and to put on display in this wonderfully cultural and intellectual center of the United States of America.
And we are thrilled to have the collection here. What do you see as the role of art in South African culture?
You know, it's a chicken and egg situation. Do contexts produce artists, or do artists influence their context? I think we should probably say that it's a wonderfully circular process, in the sense that character was born out of the apartheid experience in South Africa. It produced some of the most wonderful musicians, Abdullah Ibrahim, Miriam Makeba, Hugh Masekela. It produced some of the best proponents of the dramatic arts, Ethel Fugard and John Carney. It produced poets, it produced all of those kind of people, and ironically, under those severe conditions of repression, grew a generation of artists who articulated the feelings of the nation, who kept us human when everything tried to dehumanize us, who remained our lodestars that something better will emerge. I think current generations of artists are reflecting typically that moment of transition when a lot of the old is still with you and the new is struggling to be born, and it brings all these dilemmas. And so the artworks that we have reflects that search for the values that come from the era of repression within the new conditions, for example, social media and others that are out there. And so I think that in South Africa, the arts have always been valued not simply as decorations to your life, but expressions of your life. And I think that that is what this collection brings to the United States of America.
And again, thank you for bringing the collection here to the United States, also to the Reagan Building. I understand that the art in the collection is currently on auction on your website, with the proceeds of the auction going to the Nelson Mandela Statue Project that you will be erecting later on in the year at the Chancery here in D.C. Can you tell us a little bit about the statue project?
The statue is probably going to be the crowning glory of our diplomacy here, because so many Americans marched for Nelson Mandela's freedom. So many Americans went to jail for South Africa's liberation. So many Americans sat in banks and offices that didn't want to cut ties with apartheid South Africa. And so, in a sense, there's an umbilical cord between the United States and South Africa. We owe many of those people such a debt of gratitude. And we know that the unity between South Africa and the United States lies in the recognition of the dignity and the greatness of Nelson Mandela. And so we thought that we should bring to the exact place where people marched and were arrested outside our embassy, bring to that exact place a 3-meter or 9-foot statue of Nelson Mandela taking his first step out of prison. And that, we think, is going to tie in to the other wonderful memorials that adorn Washington. We are particularly interested in a golden triangle being fashioned out of it, because further down the road in Massachusetts Avenue is Mahatma Gandhi. Down on the Mall is Martin Luther King Jr. And we think that those 3 leaders, when Nelson Mandela joins them, offer the world a unique perspective on peacemaking, on reconciling, on dialoguing, on finding compromise, on sacrificing. And we think that that's the eloquent message that the world may require at this moment. And therefore, when we have the reception in the Ronald Reagan Center to kick off the art exhibition here, we are also offering people the opportunity to own a piece of the artworks, especially that wonderful work depicting Nelson Mandela's first speech by Chris Ledachowski. We think that it's really an ability to every day look at it and know that you can be better.
Thank you. We look forward to hosting the art exhibit and also working with you in your mission to support your goals wherever you can. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for coming in today.
No, thank you very much. And we look forward to the art exhibition with the Ronald Reagan Center and a relationship beyond that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.